Hello again, welcome back. It's good to be back. Today in this video we'll be discussing summaries of my recent publication, Temet Nosce, or better known in English, Know Thyself. This video today is an attempt to highlight and also to give an overview of what the book is really about. So we'll be providing summaries of each chapter so that you can have a better understanding of what you are getting yourself into, or whether or not you are interested in buying the book to help you through your journey of knowing thyself. So the book is divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 has its own chapters and part 2 has its own chapters. So we'll start with part 1, do the chapters, and then later on we'll do part 2. And I hope you do enjoy this, and do enjoy. Bye for now. I'll see you soon. Welcome again. This is chapter 1 of part 1 of the book. The name of the chapter is Me. M-E, me. The ego, false identity. Me, matter and energy. Material, emancipation. So what this chapter is all about is highlighting the impact and the stronghold the ego has on our lives. And if you have been following my work on this platform and the TikTok platform, you would have seen another video that talks about what the ego is in also different traditions, religious ones, for example. So in religion, we already know that the ego manifests itself as the devil. And so if you are having a conversation with a religious individual or a religious scholar, and you say to them, this world is the devil's world, they might say to you, you're right. And they might also quote scripture, Revelation, the end times, and how the world is unfolding currently, internationally. And so all of that connection, or all of these connections, are speaking of the outward manifestation of our inner, say, imbalance, or our inner psyche. And so the world is revolving, or has been revolving around this false identity of self, to say that you are a something that resides within your body, or even better, that you are the voice in your head, and therefore you listen to its commands of what it is that you are or want, or who is whoever that is having an interaction with you, or how is the world. And therefore our belief systems then are shaped and morphed into what this voice in our head wants us to believe. And so over the years, obviously researches have been done by psychologists, psychiatrists, that have come to an understanding that the ego is very smart in its self-preservation to convince us that it does not exist, or even better, to convince us that it is you, it is me. Therefore, when I say me, I'm sort of separating myself from the all, the universe, and everyone else, and saying I'm a separate entity of my own self. And therefore now that brings us to another crisis, identity crisis. So in this chapter we also discuss the way in which the ego has then pulled this wool over our eyes as a people, population at large, the whole world, both leaders and common men, convincing us of the way the world has been made up to be, because that's the ego in manifestation. In a movie, Andrew 3000 plays this character of a chess master, and is trying to explain to Mr. Green in the movie, who is Jason Statham. He's trying to explain to him that the ego is running the world. And in the movie, the ego is referred to as Mr. Gold. He tells him that the ego is running the whole world and no one has an idea. They think, everyone thinks it's them doing everything. But in effect, they are doing his bidding, the devil's bidding. I just forgot the name of the movie. I will remember it. And so in this chapter, we also discuss then how do you know the ego, and then how do you liberate this unconscious component or part of yourself, so that you can be able also to quiet the mind, quiet the voice in your head, so that you can transcend into a higher awareness of self. So it's easier, as I'm saying, sounds easy to do, but it's not really easy to do, because you confronting the ego, or you trying to rid yourself of its control, it will work against you, because already over the years you have fed it your ways of doing things, believing and behaving, and therefore the world that you see through the lens of your perception might be warped or might be turned against you, so that you don't really deal with the issue at hand, liberating the ego. And I say liberating carefully, because there is no way we can delete, get rid of the ego. It is part of us. The only problem is that if it acts alone on itself without another, without your awareness, then it runs amok and it might destroy you. Therefore, there has to be a balance in your awareness of dark and light, or the feminine qualities within yourself and the masculine qualities within yourself. Logic and intuition, the mind and the heart have to work together, because none is greater than the other. So the ego, which most people don't even know it exists, is an important component in our active masculine principle. which is based on our action and behavior. And therefore, the components of the psyche, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, conscious mind being in control by the ego, because that's your forefront or your windscreen to the world. That's where you are discriminating everything you are experiencing, making choices, decisions, whether you like, you don't like, you want this, you are doing this, you are with this, or you are not with that. All of these seemingly unconscious also choices that we make each and every moment of our lives are at the forefront of your conscious mind. However, all of these choices that you are making, they become a program over time because of repetition to your subconscious mind. We'll discuss the subconscious mind and the conscious mind in greater detail in chapter 2. But just to give an overview of the ego then, in its way, hijacks the power that your subconscious mind has in creating and manifesting this world and perception you have of the world through you and through your behavior and belief systems that is limited to what serves it. And therefore, you live your life thinking you are limited by outside things, when in fact it is how you see those outside things, how your beliefs have been shaped over time of what those things are and what they mean for you. Therefore, that in essence affects your active masculine principle, your action, the will you have upon the physical world to take action and make change, or to take action and improve your life, to take action, meaningful action, to do something that you want to do, whether pursue your dreams, your life, or do whatever that you do every day that you like doing or you have to do because of survival. So when now that is hijacked, the projection you have from your psyche of what the world is or could be is not the full picture, because the picture it has is limited by what you have come to believe it to be. I hope all of what I'm saying makes sense, but we'll discuss more of this relationship of the subconscious mind and the conscious mind in chapter 2. And so the ego itself, when now we are in this imbalanced form, takes us to what is called the dominant R complex. So now that means you live your life in survival mode, because the R complex, your medulla and say the left brain hemisphere of your neocortex takes over, and you become in this imbalance worldview that things are mechanical, things are only physical, there's nothing to it. Hence we have, over the past 100, 200 years ago, scientists write books, even make assertions through their theories that God is dead. There's no point in this physical reality. There was no creator. There's no creator. There's no purpose in it. It's just what it is. We are here tomorrow we are not here, and that's it. There's no point in it, because they are looking at it through the lens of the art complex, the imbalanced view. The left brain, obviously, of the hemisphere is postulated to deal with the mathematical things, scientific part of things, the logic, the reasoning. So we are seeing things one way and not seeing the holistic picture of what the world really is if we were balanced with our right brain hemisphere of the neocortex, so that we can see things in balance. So when now we continue to see the world not in isolation of whether it's dark or light, or whether it's the devil's world or it's God's world, but if we seeing it through our own inner awareness, after we've done the shadow work, then we begin to have a holistic view of what the world is, and we stop seeing ourselves, the me, separate from the all, but we see the all as part of all of us, that we are in fact the all in this miniature form. Therefore, also part 1 of this book is discussing what we call the individuated consciousness, or in the esoteric cycles, the minor arcana, the knowledge of the smaller things. And don't let the language make you think otherwise. Smaller things don't mean unimportant. It just means as above, so is below. So now we're talking of the below. Then the part 2 of the book will be discussing the major arcana, the above. I hope this shared a bit of something so that we can better understand. I don't want to share a lot of information on the book, because I still want you to buy it, and I'm guilty of that. So I hope you did enjoy this brief summary of the first chapter, and I will see you on chapter 2. Bye for now. Welcome back. We are going to discuss chapter 2, give brief summaries of what the chapter is about, and I hope you do enjoy the video, and thank you for being here. So the chapter 2, the title is The Conscious and Subconscious Mind. So this chapter is actually just sharing the relationship which in the mystery schools, traditionally speaking, is seen as the relationship between the husband and the wife. The husband in this case is seen as the conscious mind, and the wife is seen as the subconscious mind. The husband is the voluntary part of the brain, because that's where you're making your decisions, that's where you make your choices on what you would sort of, even if it's unconscious, you would want to program yourself with. So this is also obviously followed by your behavior and your routine, what you do every day, what you believe about yourself, what you believe about the world, and what you keep telling yourself, whether it's positive or negative. Then the subconscious mind is the involuntary part of the brain. So this is where now anything you wish to happen for you, by you, through your actions and behavior, is manifested, is made manifest, is brought into the physical world by your subconscious mind, the wife, which in her receptive powers takes your wishes as commands. However, you cannot forcefully command her to do your bidding. She only takes as commands that which you deem through your belief system and emotional charge, what you deem as truth in the moment of everyday life. That means you can continue going for telling yourself that you're successful every day. I'm successful. But until you believe you are successful, you telling yourself every day over and over again won't have a meaningful impact on your subconscious mind and its programming rather. Therefore, what you want to do, if you want to affect change in your subconscious mind, change the habits, because this is the habitual brain, you need to follow through with emotional charge. Hence the saying or the quote, what you think in your mind, believe in your heart, it shall come to pass. Because the mind consciously choosing what behavior and what it is that you want and supporting it with emotions, belief, trust that this is who I am and I want to become this successful individual, then the subconscious mind accepts it willingly. That, okay, this is the new programming now. This is how we're going to do things now. And it supports that belief system with actions and corresponding interactions from the world of what you already believe within yourself about yourself. The attraction. So this relationship also is very important because is largely right now affected by a variety of things. How the world is going on, or is ran politically, geopolitics, economy. So because the world runs in this fear tactic, keep people in fear so that they may obey and keep the status quo running. This fear is something that we are used to. It's something that has been drummed down to us for so long that it became a modus operandi for us to survive. Therefore, when we see the news regurgitating all of this fear-mongering, it's happening, this is what's happening, wars, imminent threats, all those things, we close down and go back to that survival protective mode of fear. Oh, this is happening, I have to protect myself. And then this fear itself, because we believe it, we believe what the media is saying, we believe what these leaders are doing, we believe whatever that's happening. And then that becomes now the template of our belief systems in the subconscious mind. Then when one day you feel like, I need to make a change within myself, you are now dealing not only with just habits and belief systems that you can rewire your brain quickly and then get out of. It's the fear that keeps holding on, because you need to now work hard to convince yourself that what's happening within you, which is obviously also mirrored by what's happening outside of yourself, is not your truth. And that may be difficult for you to come to, because now you are trying to deny your senses what they see, feel, touch, taste, all of that, as untrue. And that's again the fight against the ego, because that's how the ego gets its information, through the five sensory perception, the left brain mechanism. And so when you are fighting against that, it becomes difficult for you to actually come out in an instant, snap of your finger, and be whatever that you are. Hence, most of us end up only wanting to be successful, happy, and all of that. We don't want to do, or we don't want anything to do with the work that comes with being successful, happy. We don't want the misery. We don't want the hard work. We don't want the sleepless nights. We don't want the sweat, the pain, the tears, all of that stuff. We just want to be happy. Who can blame us? But in that pursuit of happiness, we have already been socialized and programmed to externalize it to other things, the material parts of the world, because we have been also taught that the world is just physical. There's nothing to it. This is what you see, it's what you get. And so obviously, even the schools, sciences, or say classical science, your Isaac Newton and stuff, they saw the world as physical, nothing to it. Cause and effect, all of that stuff. And what came after them, the psychologists, your Sigmund Freud and others, your Friedrich Nietzsche, Stephen Hawking and others, they saw the same thing, that there's no point here. It's just physical. And therefore, the pursuit of happiness by us then seems something that is plausible, because if I can buy myself something, maybe feel better. If I can stuff myself with things, maybe I will be happy. If I can get that job, maybe I will be happy. Maybe if I buy that car, house, or have these so many zeros in my bank account, I'll be happy. And when we do get those things, we feel the adrenaline rush and other parts of release of the brain, oxytocins or whatever, because we have reached the goal. We have reached the destination, and then we find out it's not what I thought it was. I'm still not happy. The hole inside is not yet filled. So then happiness becomes an inside job. And people hate that, because why should it be an inside job? Why should I face myself and deal with all of the, let's say, nasty things I've done in this life to other people, to myself? Why should I face that? Why should I face myself in the mirror and deal with me if I can just wear a different mask every day and go on with my life? and act as if things are okay. Maybe I'll be fine. Then we find out that we are not really fine, with the rise of mental illness, the rise of suicides, because we are avoiding the self, we're avoiding the inner work, we're avoiding the hurt. Because if I prolong it a bit more, I talk about someone else, I blame it on someone else, I trash their name, I smear their name, I completely derail other people's focus on that person and blame them for my problems, maybe I don't have to deal with the hurt, which is the truth, that I need to deal with me. I need to deal with my own triggers, and therefore dealing with the programming. And that's probably the first part of the layer of the programming, because the programming is layered and it's deep. It has its own levels, culturally, religiously, politically, economically, socially, personally. So all of these layers need to be dealt with in order for the mind itself to be what you want it to be, to program yourself and to think the thoughts you want to think. Thoughts are not what you manufacture in your head also. Thoughts are like a stream. Between riverbanks. Because this is an electromagnetic field within the larger field. And in this bandwidth, there's thoughts, how other people are feeling, the universe and everything. And based on how we feel, think, in truth, about ourselves and everything else, that's the thoughts that come to this antenna. And then we project what we have accepted, because these thoughts are coming and going. Then we make up our world as we see fit. So we have to realize the power that we have within us, even though it's not easy to regain it after we have externalized it, given it to the powers that be, the system, the matrix, the politicians, the religious clergy. So all of that needs to be acknowledged for you to gain the strength, the will, and the courage to take action on what you care about, which has to begin with you, yourself. Then it's easier then to project what you want, how you see the world, and your actions and behavior become synchronized in this meaningful way you want to be, and how you want to impact the world and interact also with fellow humans. I hope this long and explanation, which I thought was going to be short, gives you an idea of what we're really dealing with here. And I just want to say the book is available on Amazon, and the way I've decided to write it, the style I used to write the book, is in contradiction to probably how I want it to be received. And I did that on purpose. So the way I wrote the book, it's sort of in a way that it's sort of like trying fact-finding or proving facts and truth, while in fact I believe the book is not saying anything, or it's actually not trying to convince you of any truths or facts. The book is just a finger pointing, and this finger is pointing back at you, at me, nothing else. And so there is no one, as I've always said in my other videos, if you are returning here and as someone who always watches my videos, no one in this world can tell you the truth about yourself. Only you can know that. And therefore, the book is not a template, nor is it a truth for your journey and your personal journey and whatsoever. It is just a perspective from this vantage point. And if in that perspective there's something, tools that you can use for your own journey, please use them. However, the book itself is not the truth. And I wanted just to say that. And if you are interested in buying the book is available on Amazon. It's available on the two formats, either an ebook or a print or paperback format. So you can get your book and start reading, and maybe there's something that you might like. And I would appreciate if you leave a review also on the Amazon website after you've done buying the book and reading it for a few chapters. Just leave a review of what you think about the book. And please like, share, and subscribe, and follow me. And thank you. And bye for now. I'll see you on chapter 3. Welcome again. This is chapter 3 of the book Temet Nosce. The title of chapter 3 is Eternal States. I am. I know you might have heard, read, or have been told in different cycles and different walks of life that the I am is the name of God in the Christian cycles. And that is true. However, we are discussing it in a very different way here, while also acknowledging that fact and not moving away from it, for lack of a better term. So I am is the totality of your being. It's your full awareness of self, or the admission, therefore, of self. If I say I am, then it means I am whatever is this moment, right now, at this present moment. Then we may debate the manifested reality of that, which is what we are seemingly getting caught up to. So we don't stand in the awareness itself of I am, but we're worried about what comes after that phrase, I am. So I am a person. We're worried about that person, persona. What does that person do? Where do they live? What are they doing? How are they poor? Are they rich? We are worried about that and not the awareness itself. The power of that awareness of I am. And obviously this became a repeated motif in the Hollywood movies with the Marvel Comics universe, of the portrayal of the Avengers and the fight between the Avengers and Thanos. And Thanos kept on repeating that he is. And also it is said by Tony Stark after he cleverly steals the hand with the infinite stones from Thanos and snaps his finger. He says, I am as well. So it's not in the movies it's depicted as sort of like a fight of what different conflicting parties, of what they can do with that awareness, proving to each other that when they do have this awareness and power, or evidence by power, that they can decide with a snap of a finger how the universe goes, who lives and who dies. And so in this chapter we're discussing how this awareness can help with the progression of the unlearning of programs and also the reconstitution of new programs and the mind itself, so that you may deal with these fears and these limiting beliefs and illusions of separation from the I am, the awareness of being, the all, what we say is God, or what we call God, whether or not our saying of it, admitting of it is limited or not by our experience, beliefs, and what we've been conditioned also to believe what God is, whether that is or not. The mere admittance that we understand that I am awareness, then that gives us a chance on dealing with what we can become, the true, in the essence of the word, the true repentance. Because the word repentance, in its true essence of the word, it means the changing of the mind. And so once we change the mind and be born again within the self through the fire, then we have a chance of becoming better and behaving and projecting a newer version of self that is not limited by society, culture, and other things. And so you might have also noticed that the New Age movement, the chakras, meditation movements, and all those things, they have already did work and have already, with the chakra systems, placed phrases on them, that the root chakra is the I am chakra, all the way to the crown chakra, which is I know. These phrases in this depicted chakra system, let's say by the New Age movement, is not all incorrect. However, the root chakra and the crown chakra, the crown chakra in the ascension of your consciousness, says that once you know, then maybe you can become, or you can ascend to other chakras above the human body. The I am phrase is what in the Gnostic tradition, in the Gnostic text, is at the top, is at the crown chakra. Because the Gnostics believe that planet Saturn, Satan, whatever you want to call it, is at the highest level of awareness, or the gatekeeper before you truly ascend. You have to deal with that energy. And so in the Gnostic text, the crown chakra is I am, because that's the highest awareness there is. When I say I know, I'm still limited. Knowledge is limited. There's a quote by Albert Einstein which speaks about this, that knowledge is limited, is limiting. While on the other hand, imagination encircles the world. Therefore, all that I can say I know, or anyone can say they know, is limited based on time, their experience, what they can make sense of. And in actual sense and in truth, once you say you know something, or you know, you're also admitting that you also know that you don't know. Because knowing is also an awareness of you being aware of how much you don't know. Therefore, I know in the crown chakra cannot be the highest awareness. The highest awareness is I am. That's the only point I wanted to point out about the New Age movement. And I don't mean no offense to anyone who believes in that stuff, or follows it, or uses it in as a daily practice in their lives. No offense. This is just me. You can do what you want and what you will about it. So this chapter is now bringing us back to the highest awareness within self, that it is not me, the ego, but it is the I am itself that is having this experience from this vantage point. And you are also having that experience as well. Or should I say, it's also having an experience through you, from your perspective, and someone else, and all of us. But that's very difficult for us to come to understand, to know, to even admit, or to say, okay, we will see things differently now, or we are opening our minds and not going to be rigid or fixed in our belief systems. We're gonna listen to this different approach or different whatever. It's difficult for us because already in the material sense of things, through education, sciences, and whatever, what we can prove through our five sensory perception has already duped us into only looking at physicality of things as physical, even though we know through science, again, quantum physics, that nothing is actually physical. The atom itself is 99.999% empty space. It's energy. So what we deem as physical is just energy in high frequencies. Electrons smashing each other or whatsoever, dancing or whatever. So we can't come to admit that as truth or as something new that we need to incorporate into our everyday lives, because it challenges the very essence of belief in what this all is, or the I am itself, because the I am, we have externalized it as something out there, and we are separate from it because of disgrace, because we did something wrong, and again we were told we did something wrong, and therefore cast out of whatever that is deemed imperfect. So it's difficult then to say I am without saying I'm rich, I am this, I'm a politician, scientist, I'm a doctor, because doctor and scientist and politician is more important than I am to you, with how we've been socialized. I hope I'm making sense, because if you are within the awareness of I am, you realize you are not limited to being a doctor, a politician, or you can be whatever, because you are everything. You are it. You are it. In the Hindu traditional sense, Buddhist traditional sense, you are it. And our insistence of playing the game, pretending, acting with our personas that we are not it. In fact, we're so filthy to be even in the presence of it, or be imbued by its energy and its pureness and awareness. Granted, we need to do a lot of work so that we move away from negativity and the grip of the ego, the lower self. We need to do that work, but we don't do the work by deletion, neglecting, and denying. We do the work by accepting, acknowledging, admitting, forgiving of self. Then the transition the ascension to our true selves becomes a bit easier, for lack of a better term, process when we are now ascending to our highest states of consciousness through different frequencies and knowledge and everything. I hope this also makes sense, because I tried to make it less scary and less political, if you may, and controversial, even though I understand the book itself, to some people, is very controversial. Something that, you know, they don't want to be bothered with, you know. So it's like, what is this guy talking about? What is he saying? Who gave him the right to say what he's saying? You know, so all of that is still, you know, case in point for me, or what I'm actually saying. It's proving what I'm saying, that, you know, the belief system that we hold so dear are running amok, and making us do things and hold on to past traumas and hurts for as long as there's someone out there who is either talking, behaving in a way that triggers those traumas in us, and or reminds us that there's work that we need to do with ourselves. And then we quickly demonize that individual, so that the seemingly projection from them does not have to be felt as if it was an attack on you, when it wasn't. You just feel like that within yourself. The guilt is within yourself. No one can see it, except when now you make it about that person. Then now everyone can see that something is wrong with you, not that person you don't know personally, but have an interest on destroying, have an interest on making people not like them, have an interest on denouncing, smearing. So all of that now just speaks of how you are behaving in your lower self, behaving in that hateful, jealousy, envy, you know, narcissistic, all of that mental loop, which again, I say, the ego is running that. That's its game. And this voice in your head keep telling you, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do to that person, or this person does not respect you, go after them, do this, just because they are saying something that is in contradiction to what you believe is the truth. Then we are in trouble. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again in the next chapter, chapter 4.